Should politics and political messages stay out of video games? Or can they have a place in gaming stories without killing the experience? The answer to both of these questions is coming up. Now, those observant in the audience might notice that the game playing behind me is Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, a game that was made famous before it ever released for this imagery. Now, obviously all the drama surrounding that image was misplaced, it was much ado about nothing, but it did again cause people to ask the questions that are being asked around the internet in gaming circles ever since people like Anita Sarkeesian surfaced. Should politics or even certain political views be in video games? Should the story writers add them in to influence the players in some way? Or can games be just that? Games. Harmless fun, nothing more than a hobby, that complete moral busybodies like Anita Sarkeesian or Jack Thompson just need to butt out of. It seems like a simple yes or no answer, but it's a bit more complicated than that. And to explain why, I have to talk about the Supreme Court case Brown versus Entertainment Merchants Association. Now, to those who know nothing about this case, I'll just be very brief. It essentially made video games an art form, meaning it received First Amendment protections. And as to why that matters, keep in mind that art has always been a way to convey messages, political or otherwise, to the viewer, either subtly or not so subtly. Therefore, political themes and even criticism of themes in video games by political figures is an inevitable part of video games if we are truly going to be consistent about labeling them an art form, as art does have the ability to influence those who experience it. In fact, the art of storytelling itself is a way to deliver complex messages to people, whether said messages be political or a lesson of some kind. Now, that being said, there is a big distinction to make between subtly delivering your message.
Don't tell Waka about Yuna's lineage. The thing about Waka, he never had much love for the Al-Bhed.
And,
All right, ladies. Let's loosen his grip.
Yo, that's where you wanted us to shoot, right?
Yes.
well, that. Just like there's a big distinction between criticizing themes in games and demanding they change to fit your preferences. I mean, if Anita Sarkeesian actually analyzed games... No, I'm not calling what she did analyzing. That would be insulting to other channels on YouTube that do a way better job at it than she does. She would realize there's already a lot of positive messages in video games and plenty of good female role models. Hell, Final Fantasy X, perhaps my favorite game ever, has an incredible story filled with political messages and criticisms. It criticizes governments needing a boogeyman of some kind to be in conflict with to justify their existence and the strict rules they impose on those it governs when the government leaders themselves don't even follow their own moral rules, and the lengths government will go to protect said boogeyman from all that seek to completely destroy it to achieve peace. Thus, you can't rely on government to bring peace to everyone, as that's not in the government's best interests. You have to find your own way of doing things to make things right. And if you think I'm just going full Stefan Molyneux with that analysis, go and watch The Trial of Yuna again, and tell me with a straight face that you don't see those themes. Actually, you know what? I'll spare you the trouble. I'll play it for you now. Warning, big spoilers, skip ahead if for some reason you still haven't played Final Fantasy X yet.
The High Court of Yevon is now in session. The sacred officers of this court seek nothing but absolute truth in Yevon's name. To those on trial, believe in Yevon and speak only the truth.
Maester Kelk Ronso.
Summoner Yuna, you have sworn to protect the people of Yevon, true?
Yes.
Then consider. You have inflicted dire injury upon Maester Seymour Guado, conspired with the Al-Bhed and joined in their insurrection. These are traitorous and unforgivable crimes that disturb the order of Yevon. Tell this court what possessed you to participate in such violence.
Your Grace. The real traitor is Maester Seymour. He killed his father Jiskel with his own hands.
What is this?
Hadn't you heard?
Not only that, Maester Seymour is already dead.
It is a summoner's sacred duty to send the souls of the departed to the far plane. Yuna was only doing her job as a summoner.
Grand Maester Micah, please send Seymour now.
Send the unsent to where they belong?
Yes. Maester?
Send the dead? You would have to send me too.
What? Grand Maester Micah is a wise leader. Even in death, he is invaluable to Spira.
Enlightened rule by the dead is preferable to the misguided failures of the living.
Life is but a passing dream, but the death that follows is eternal.
Men die, beasts die, trees die, even continents perish. Only the power of death truly commands in Spira. Resisting its power is futile.
But what of sin? I am a summoner, my lord, like my father before me. I am on a pilgrimage to stop the death that sin brings. Are you telling me that too is futile? Grand Maester Micah, I am not alone. All the people who have opposed sin, their battles, their sacrifices, were they all in vain?
Not in vain. No matter how many summoners give their lives, sin cannot be truly defeated. The rebirth cannot be stopped. Yet the courage of those who fight gives the people hope. There is nothing futile in the life and death of a summoner.
Never futile, but never ending.
Indeed, that is the essence of heaven.
Lord Micah.
Heaven is embodied by eternal, unchanging continuity, summoner.
No. That can't be right.
Those who question these truths, they are traitors.
Lord Micah!
All of those themes and more are in Final Fantasy X. Heck, if I wanted to go further, I could analyze it as a great feminist story. Think about it, since birth, Yuna is pressured to follow her father's footsteps and then ultimately decides that is not the way to solve the problem, and she goes about things her own way to save the land of Spira. A land that, by the way, is ruled by, as you noticed, an all-male council of old men that think they know better and want to keep things the same. A feminist story in a nutshell. But when you think of Final Fantasy X, you don't think of that. You don't notice those little themes until they're pointed out to you. Because you're not supposed to. Again, the whole point of storytelling is to tell the audience a big, complex message in a way that influences them without just shoving the message right in their face. A master storyteller can weave the message into his work in a way that seems natural. Whereas a crap storyteller, like Paul Feig for example, just blurts the message that you're supposed to take away from the movie out to you every 5 minutes.
Suck it.
And that is why the kind of stories that everyone complains about, the blatant SJW stories, all suck. Because they do exactly what Paul Feig kept getting wrong in Ghostbusters Answer the Call. They make it blatantly clear what the message of the movie is, and they rub it in your face every chance they get. And since, again, the whole point of storytelling is to subtly tell your message over the course of the story, if you just tell people what your message is outright, where does the story go from there? It has no reason to continue. There's nothing more you can do. You've already told everyone outright what the message is. For comparison, it's like trying to do a magic trick in reverse. Imagine starting a magic trick by showing everyone exactly how the trick works, and then pulling off the magic trick. It doesn't work. All the mystery is gone. You've told everyone exactly how it works right from the get-go, so there's nowhere for the trick to go. Now, does this mean you can't make a good story with, say, a trans character's main character? Well, come on, sure you can. Just keep the lessons in mind, be subtle about the message, put character and story first, and you'll be fine. You can do it. And if it's gaming stories you're complaining about, well, there's no video games with trans characters as the main characters. Excuse me, gender bender DNA twister. Max's big bust. I mean, are we just pretending those games don't exist? Is that what this is? Or do those stories not count because they don't go on and on about transgender issues and actually focus on character and story? If that's the issue you have with these stories, then you haven't been paying attention. So to bring all this back to the question I asked at the beginning of the video, should politics be in stories, particularly video game stories? I would say that's the wrong question to ask, because as I demonstrated with Final Fantasy X, it's already there. What we should be asking is, what is the right way to have political themes in stories? And the answer is, put story and character first, before politics. As long as you get that right, you can put whatever political message into the story you want. Hell, make a feminist game if you want, make a game with a female protagonist if you want. Heck, make a game with an incredible female swordswoman if you really want to. As long as the game is good, we gamers will play it. Because as a group, we are probably the most diverse and least bigoted around. And that's all I have to say. I thank all of you for watching. If you want to see more content and more of my long, hard, thick crowbar, then make sure to subscribe.